My name is Matt Lenz, and I'm here on behalf of the Entertainment Software Association. I'm here today respectfully to oppose Senate Bill 166 and House Bill 341, which seeks to create a right to repair mandate. ESA is the trade association representing companies that publish computer and video games for PCs, mobile devices, and video game consoles. The makers of all three major console systems, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, are ESA members. People who play video games represent a diverse cross-section of the United States, spanning every age, gender, and ethnicity. Not only do 75% of US households have at least one gamer at home, our industry has an economic footprint that touches every state. In Massachusetts, for example, there are more than 80 video game publishers, developers, and hardware companies. Delivering consumers the best gameplay environment depends upon a trustworthy and secure delivery platform. There's a thriving modification market offering tools and other ways to modify game consoles in order to play illegal games downloaded from the internet. To combat this, video game consoles employ technological protection measures, or TPMs, to protect creative works and prevent illegal and unauthorized device modifications that could result in the ability to play pirated games. Once a console's TPMs are disabled, two worrisome events can occur. First, the game experience for players is diminished, sometimes dramatically, which could be seen as a flaw in the console or the game. And two, any number of illegal copied games from the internet could be played on the console. Piracy is of particular concern to smaller video game publishers who may be acutely affected by mass infringement and its impact on their livelihoods. AAA games can take several years to develop and cost tens of millions, or in some cases, more than 100 million to produce. A right to repair mandate poses a high risk to game publishers and other copyright owners who rely upon the secured media environment of the game console to safeguard their works against sophisticated piracy efforts. Sharing hardware schematics, sensitive diagnostic information, tools, and security-related resets codes with unauthorized third parties would compromise the security of the entire platform and harm console makers and copyright owners. ESA and the console makers have a strong interest in ensuring that game console owners have access to affordable, high quality, and safe and reliable repairs. All three console makers offer repair services beyond the warranty period. Keeping consoles in good working condition, order, and ensuring product integrity are important to console makers. Every day, millions of Americans enjoy playing video games. Me, myself, I'm a gamer, and the continued viability and success of the game console business is dependent upon a trustworthy and secure delivery platform. If platforms aren't compromised, which we believe they will be if this right to repair mandate is imposed, it will hurt game publishers, console makers, and consumers' trust in a protected and entertaining gameplay environment. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
My name is John Keane of the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers, also known as AHAM, and we're here in opposition to House Bill 341 and Senate Bill 166. AHAM believes these bills raise far more safety concerns than they seek to address. Our industry encompasses everything from your refrigerator, clothes washer, microwave, electric toothbrush. Without, our repairs include the handling of electricity, gas, water, and filtered air. In fact, appliances are subject to electrical codes, building codes, plumbing code, and safety standards to ensure that our products are handled safely. One thing to keep in mind is that one thing that sets our industry apart is that technicians enter people's homes, consumers. Therefore, safety and security take on additional meanings. Manufacturers will no longer have the ability to properly assess whether the people entering these homes have met the necessary technical and security checks to make sure the customer remains safe. Improper repairs could lead to significant property damage, including wrongly splicing wires, posing a fire hazard to the consumer, and using the wrong refrigerants, which could cause irreparable damage to the product. With that, I strongly urge you to oppose House Bill 341 and Senate Bill 166. Thank you so much.
My name is Daniel Carson, and I serve as the Corporate Sales Director for United Construction and Forestry. I'm also speaking on behalf of our sister dealership, United Ag and Turf. We are in opposition to the legislation. Combined, our dealerships represent John Deere construction, forestry, agricultural, and turf products throughout all of Massachusetts. While John Deere equipment has become more sophisticated, Deere supports the customer's right to repair and has built advanced diagnostic capabilities into our equipment that are available to the owner, dealers, or even state legislators like you. John Deere provides subscription access to Customer Service Advisor, which is a specialized diagnostic tool, similar to the tools our technicians use to support our customers. Customer Service Advisor allows the equipment owner to do 95% of the repairs we do at a dealership. Right now, end users have access to onboard diagnostics via in-cab display or wireless interface, electronic diagnostic service tools, and Deere dealers provide training on how to use both. Right to repair is a complicated yet important issue. We believe the best solutions can be achieved when all parties talk together and allow the marketplace to shape the most appropriate solutions. The best solutions will not come from legislative mandates. In fact, across the United States, attempts to pass legislation similar to that is proposed has been defeated every time. We strongly oppose the digital right to repair. In respect to the committee's time, I have submitted written testimony as well.
My name is Walter Alcorn. I am the Vice President for Environmental Affairs and Industry Sustainability at CTA. And I just wanted to address a couple of the environmental claims that have been made surrounding this. We haven't heard any today, but just a couple points I wanted to point out to the committee. First of all, e-waste is in decline. It actually, according to a study by Yale and the Rochester Institute of Technology, peaked in about 2015, and since then has been the fastest declining product in the municipal waste stream. So you may hear from some folks that it's increasing, but actually it's just the opposite. It's going down. Also, there's also a misperception among some folks that smartphones and mobile devices in particular are being discarded in very large amounts. That also is contradicted by data. CTA does a consumer survey every couple of years to see what consumers do with their devices, amongst other things. And based on that data, only 2 to 3% of consumers actually throw away their mobile devices. And instead, consumers do the logical thing. They trade them in, they sell them to get cash, or they give them away to family and friends. So that is actually much more of an accurate picture of what folks are doing with these devices. So with that, I'll not use all my 3 minutes, but did want to let you know that CTA does oppose this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alcorn. Are you able to submit the sites that you quoted in, as part of follow-up testimony, if you have it available?
I sure will. Be happy to do that. I'll submit that in the next, this afternoon.
My name is Christopher Fogarty. I'm a member of the International Union of Operating Engineers, IUOE, Local 4, based in Medway, Massachusetts. The IUOE has approximately 3,900 members in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. If you're unfamiliar with the role of the IUE and their members of the operating engineers, they operate the bulldozers, the excavators, and cranes, helping form the shape, the infrastructure, and the skylines around the city and state of Massachusetts. We operate the boilers and generators and the heating and cooling systems, as well as maintain the buildings and grounds that help you comfortably at work and play. Operating engineers are the first on the construction site and the last off. When it involves a commercial or industrial complex, stationary engineers are there long after the construction is finished, operating and maintaining and completing the completed facility. The IUOE is dedicated to serving and protecting the needs and interests of its members and their families through the collective bargaining process, legislative action, and extensive training and skills improvement programs. In continuous operation since the 1800s, the IUOE's dedication to members is unmatched, with its efforts focused on safety and continued employment and the quality of work environment where pay and benefits match the skills of the IUOE members. I'm here to express the IUOE's opposition to SB 166 and HB 341, and would like to take a moment to share our union's beliefs that these bills are dangerous to the industry which we serve as the operating engineers. H 341, S 166 have many unintended consequences. These bills apply to all digital electronic projects. Digital electronic products is defined as a part of a machinery containing microprocessor originally manufactured for distribution and sale in the United States. With this broad definition in mind, original equipment manufacturers who create the bulldozers and motor graders, the backhoes, the cranes which we operate are included. These large, heavy, and sophisticated systems require refined operations service, as they must maintain a variety of safety-sensitive applications in order to keep the operating engineers in driver's seat. Tampering or otherwise altering these systems would be catastrophic to the safety of the operating engineers and those around them. Providing access to the embedded codes to these large, heavy, and sophisticated systems is in opposite of the intent of the legislation, which is to provide access to consumer product repair applications. By giving access to embedded code in this product content, the safety of operating engineers will ultimately be unnecessarily jeopardized. Operating engineers work in the construction equipment dealers across the United States, which rely on parts and sales to stay in business. The language defining fair and reasonable terms for parts sales is vague and ill-advised. HB 341 and SB 166, section 2 and 3, if adopted, provides language along with severely impacting construction equipment dealers, the IOE jobs supported in these dealerships. Given these onerous and unnecessary terms, the jobs of the many operating engineers in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts will be at risk. Thank you.
Chair, members of the committee, my name is Lisa McCabe, and I'm here on behalf of CTIA, the Trade Association for the Wireless Communications Industry, in opposition to Senate Bill 166 and House Bill 341. The marketplace already provides a wide range of consumer choice for electronic repair without the mandates imposed by this legislation. For example, manufacturers have relationships with authorized repair providers. These providers, which include local and small businesses, have received the appropriate training from manufacturers and have the qualifications to ensure that repairs are done properly and safely. Manufacturers go to great lengths to produce products of the highest quality, and authorized repair ensures that those products maintain that high quality and guarantees that they meet the manufacturer's standards. In addition to authorized repair, manufacturers offer walk-in repair options at retail, as well as mail-in services. Insurance providers also offer repair, which may even include a third-party remote technician traveling to a consumer to perform repairs. Consumers can currently use independent repair today, although manufacturers cannot guarantee the quality assurance of those independent repair providers. We're concerned that this legislation could have a number of unintended consequences to the operation of electronic devices. For example, even if an independent repair is provided the technical information required under this bill, without specific training on reassembling a device, they could unintentionally cause antenna performance problems, which could make it so an important call doesn't go through, or put stress on the device's frame that could make it break more easily when dropped. For these reasons, we respectfully urge you not to move this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCabe, for your testimony. And your testimony brings to mind, if the product is so delicate, I mean, it must be hard on consumers in general just to be able to use it. Do you have any statistics on problems that consumers have directly with those delicate pieces of the equipment?
I don't have any statistics on that. I'm sorry.
Tia Sutton, and I'm testifying today on behalf of the Truck and Engine Manufacturers Association. EMA represents manufacturers of commercial vehicles and on- and off-road engines used in many applications, including trucks, buses, construction and farm equipment, locomotives, marine vessels, lawn and garden equipment, and stationary generators. S166 and H341 on digital right to repair simply go too far. They'll create confusion, burdens, and risks for Massachusetts users and manufacturers alike, and will lead to significant adverse safety, environmental, and security impacts. The bills broadly define digital electronic product as containing a microprocessor. However, modern engines, vehicles, and equipment all contain microprocessors. The bills specifically exclude motor vehicles, yet they lack clarity on the exclusion of other similarly complex machinery, such as off-road engines and equipment and marine vessels, that would face the same significant impacts. As currently written, the bills would allow anyone, whether trained or not, to access and change the microprocessors of engines, vehicles, and equipment that control critical safety, emissions, and performance systems, thus creating significant adverse unintended consequences. Such digital right to repair legislation is simply not needed for vehicles or off-road equipment and creates a solution in search of a problem. The correct use of service information, such as diagnostic and repair tools, on the complex machinery manufactured by EMA members requires highly trained and skilled personnel. Unfettered access by untrained individuals will undermine the integrity of the equipment and allow for safety features on heavy equipment to be altered and compromised. It would further increase the likelihood for disabling federally mandated emission control systems, and such illegal tampering is increasingly occurring today, especially on off-highway equipment and trucks, and contributes substantial excess pollution that harms public health and air quality. The U.S. EPA has undertaken a national enforcement initiative to respond to the numerous instances of such engine tampering across the country, and this includes tampering via the use of software to alter or disable digitally controlled emission technologies. Additionally, allowing access to software that controls federally regulated systems also exposes owners, operators, and manufacturers to both civil and criminal liability for tampering. Lastly, the bills also fail to contain any safeguards or restrictions that would prevent or mitigate the risk of cybersecurity incidents from hackers. The legislation will simply make those efforts easier. EMA requests that any digital right to repair legislation clarify that all on and off highway engines, vehicles, and equipment are expressly excluded. Those products are not the type of consumer goods that appear to be the focus of the bills, and they're already covered by existing state and federal laws and manufacturer commitments. Lastly, the bills will limit the availability and or increase the cost of products sold in Massachusetts, as those products will be forced to have unique characteristics. Thank you so much for the opportunity to provide our comments. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I've already submitted my written testimony, but I'd also be happy to submit additional information on EPA's enforcement initiatives.
Thank you. My name is Greg Blask. I'm the CFO of Jessica Wink. We are an equipment dealer. We represent Workin, John Deere, and Ditch Witch Products. We have 13 locations, 350 employees. We have one location in Massachusetts. My responsibility is to testify in front of these such committees. I have done that over the last 5 years in several states, and not one bill has passed, or our industry has been exempt. And again, my industry is heavy construction equipment, and I truly believe that this bill was not intended to bring our industry in, because as it was said once before, the manufacturers we do represent already provide the tools to the end user, for the independent repair shop, and our private and public customers invest significant dollars in training, as well as the dealer to date. And our dealership has not received any requests from any of our customers, and that state and a county. Can we have the source code? And I think the issue comes in about this embedded source code. There's less than 2% of the repairs require reprogram of embedded software. And so that's why another reason why I think this legislation goes a little bit too far beyond the what's needed. For me, not for our company, we're a family owned. We're now 50 years in, and we're concerned about the safety of the consumer. And I've witnessed it over my 41 years with the company of what can happen in heavy construction equipment when somebody makes a mistake. And we just recently had that, one a couple of months ago, and the gentleman lost his life. So just think about giving somebody embedded code, and that person with the embedded code makes a mistake. So what does that do? That increases the liability of our industry and increases the safety significance for the members, as we just saw for operating engineers, and same thing for our employees. I thought about this just the other night, and I know one other thing: intellectual property. Of what happens when you're given access to intellectual property. This bill says the manufacturers has to give to the competition, if they do buy that piece of equipment, to foreign competition, and also to foreign governments. They all can get this to look at the products that we have. Our manufacturers spend millions of dollars investing into new technologies, and We're in with the autonomous equipment running by themselves. We're also working. We also use with drones. Could you imagine by giving sinister people the opportunity to take that information and do things with it? Just think about that. Again, I don't think this bill truly was set for our industry, and I truly believe in that. I think it was a set for the phone industry, and they can fight that own argument. But in our industry, this is too big of it's too big, and for the safety and also for the protection of the country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the chairs and the members of the committee for allowing me to speak today on our opposition to both H341 and S166. My name is Drake Jamalian with the Security Industry Association. We're a nonprofit trade association representing businesses that provide a broad range of security products for government, commercial, and residential users, including over 24 businesses with headquarters, employees, and operations in Massachusetts. Some of these security solutions include carbon monoxide detectors, explosion protected cameras, advanced locking mechanisms for access control and alarm systems, and other safety devices. Our member companies develop, manufacture, and integrate technologies to help keep people safe from fire, theft, and other hazards. SIA's top concerns on both bills revolve around the overly broad and vague definition of digital electronic product. In the bills, which seemingly encompass all digital electronic products, our member companies would be forced to disclose proprietary diagnostic and reparation information to individuals who do not have the requisite skills to fix any known defects, and thus puts the security integrity of residential and commercial users' equipment at risk. One example what would happen if an independent repair provider fixed your home security system, then an individual was able to break into your house for criminal purposes. Both bills do not sufficiently answer who would be liable for this instance. Other examples we can replicate in other cases would be a house catching on fire, pipes leaking carbon monoxide, or a person exposes easily identifiable security vulnerabilities on locking mechanisms. And simple malfunctions can cause real and physical harm. And of course, we must incentivize OEMs to ensure the efficacy and integrity of their products. And just lastly, we of course have cybersecurity concerns regarding the publishing of sensitive information, not only impacting OEMs, but of course increases consumer risk to future malicious cyber attacks. Of course, we've seen that in the past year or so. And in the scope of cybersecurity, this includes software updates, source code, and encryption keys and all the like. And I just want to end by saying thank you again for your time and attention to this issue. I know that this is an issue across the nation. And please let us know if SIA or its members can provide any information or any further assistance to you and your colleagues here on the committee. So thank you again.
My name is Stephanie C., and I am the Director of State Government Relations for the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. AEM is the North American-based international trade group, and we represent off-road equipment manufacturers and suppliers with more than 1,000 member companies and 200 product lines in the agriculture and construction-related industry sectors worldwide. While our industry supports a customer's right to repair his or her own equipment, our association opposes S166 and H341, both digital right to repair bills. This legislation will not, oops, and I just lost my computer. This legislation will not accomplish its stated goal of reducing the time and expense for equipment repair. However, it will open the door to unintended safety, environmental, and economic consequences. I go deeper into these consequences in my written testimony. So just to be brief, I'm going to address a few things. First, equipment manufacturers already provide the tools and information needed for diagnosis, repair, and maintenance. Over the past few years, major OEMs have begun offering enhanced diagnostic and repair tools. And the local dealers present today have and will go deeper into this, or you can contact your own local dealer for more information. Second, modern equipment is highly sophisticated and complex. Machines are built to maximize productivity while carefully complying with federal and sometimes state mandates for emissions and safety controls. These machines run as a system, and when something is changed, it has cascading impacts down the line. For example, if a farmer wants to increase the horsepower repair of his or her tractor, the emissions also increase. So it brings the machine out of compliance with the Clean Air Act. Although it's likely not intentional, illegal modification is somewhat common. In an April 2019 study of 770 equipment dealers, 33% reported seeing modified equipment brought in for service in the past 24 months. Some dealers saw up to 50% of equipment being brought in for service that had been modified. The common modifications were either engine tuning or changes to the hydraulic systems or the safety mechanisms. My third point is that equipment manufacturers support hundreds of thousands of family-sustaining jobs in rural Americas through authorized dealer networks. Hundreds of thousands of existing trained and licensed service technicians take pride in the work that they do to support customers, and they provide a vital service to their community. It's inaccurate to assume that trained and licensed service technicians in rural areas will simply open their own repair shops if they lose their jobs due to this legislation. And finally, right to repair laws will not make repairs faster or less expensive. The equipment manufacturing industry, like many industries, is in the midst of both a workforce crisis and a global supply chain crisis. Right to repair legislation does not solve workforce problems. It does not address supply chain issues. It doesn't even promote reliable wireless rural broadband infrastructure that would allow dealers to remote onto a machine in the field or on a job site to diagnose and offer repair assistance. While these issues are outside of the scope of this committee, legislators wishing to solve real repair-related issues should lean on their fellow state and federal legislators to find solutions to state and federal infrastructure, workforce, and trade problems. On behalf of AEM, I just wanted to thank the committee for the opportunity to speak today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Devin Lane Farm Supply in Belchertown. We operate 2 locations here, power equipment store and farm equipment store here in Belchertown. We employ 10 employees and are actively involved in our community and agricultural industry. On behalf of Devin Lane, I'm here to express our opposition to SB 166 and HB 341 and share why I believe these bills could have significant negative consequences for my industry and our dealership. Before I do that, I want to make it clear that our dealership and the industry fully supports customers' right to repair, but we cannot support a right to modify. At Devin Lane, we consider ourselves partners with our customers. Our focus on ensuring they have the best solution for their equipment needs, maximizing their uptime, productivity, and profitability. We regularly help our customers diagnose and repair their own equipment via phone and work hard to ensure that they have the right replacement parts in stock when our customers need them. We're farmers ourselves. We get it. Keeping our customers' machines up and running is our first priority. We succeed when our customers succeed. In my opinion, H341 and S166 could result in a number of unintended consequences. Access to embedded code as required by the legislation will lead to the continued proliferation of defeat devices. The auto and heavy truck marketplace have shown us what happens when defeat devices are widely marketed to our customers, seeking increased power, fuel economy, save money on DEF fluid, and avoid the time constraints of diesel exhaust filter maintenance. I point to the $75,000 EPA fine handed down to a diesel repair facility in southern Iowa. $75,000 for disabling equipment to reduce air pollution as just one example. Simply put, those defeat devices modify engine controls, emissions features designed to comply with Clean Air Act requirements. A chipped or tuned piece of Tier 4 equipment emits pollutants equivalent to a Tier 0 rating, effectively taking us back 20 years, nullifying much of the work and investments we've invested in cleaning up our environment. In addition to emissions, access modifications of embedded code enables untrained repairers the ability to make unintentional or intentional changes to equipment control systems. Functions such as steering, PTO shutoff, implement controls, speed, hydraulic, and fuel pressure, all of which can impact operator safety for current and subsequent owners, myself, my technicians, and expose subsequent retailers to product liability claims. If I sell or repair a unit that I didn't realize had been modified, resulting in an injury or death, my dealership is on the hook. My dealership is heavily invested in used equipment. This legislation could have significant impact on the used equipment marketplace.
Thank you very much. That's your time.